The Passionate Leader, because leadership without passion is just a title.
Meeting. We got a collapse in the garage. Get the squad back equipment in here. We got an I-beam gone to a firefighter.
Get that island urgent. Transmit a second along.
This is where titles end and leadership begins.
Ask yourself, what does it really mean to dedicate your entire life to the fire service? Not for the spotlight or the title, but because somewhere along the line, the job got into your blood and never let go. Today's guest is a man who lived that reality for more than 5 decades. From firefighter to chief, from instructor to mentor, from loss control consultant to safety director. Joe Adams has spent 53 years walking through the highs, the heartbreaks, and the hard-earned lessons that come with this profession. He's trained generations of firefighters and dedicated his career to making sure the next firefighters go home alive. But his story isn't just about certifications or rank. It's about sacrifice. It's about responsibility, and it's about carrying the weight that comes with leadership. Because when Joe talks about the fire service, he's not speaking from theory. He's speaking from experience, including the unimaginable pain of losing 3 firefighters under his command as fire chief. That kind of loss changes a person. Yet even after the toughest days, the toughest calls, and the toughest lesson, Joe still shows up with passion for building firefighters the right way, giving them a foundation, teaching them to succeed before the fireground teaches them the hard way. At the core of it all, Joe is a man who values family above everything, a proud husband, a proud father, and more importantly, a proud grandfather. A firefighter shaped by mentors who took him under their wing, and now someone who is committed to doing the same for the next generation. So today, ask yourself, what does longevity in this profession actually look like? What wisdom only comes from decades in the arena? And are we truly preparing the next generation for the fireground? And with the weight that comes with wearing the badge. This is going to be a real conversation with the passionate leader in Joe Adams. Before we start, we do have to pay some of our bills. Today's episode is brought to you by the First Due Project and the Fire and Foliage Symposium, happening October 16th and 17th in Nashua, New Hampshire. Let's be honest, too many conferences have become about attendance numbers, social media photos, and packed schedules, where somewhere along the way, we forgot that every person who walks through the door is simply looking to grow. At Fire and Foliage, you're not a number. You're a firefighter, an officer, a mentor, or somebody simply trying to become better than they were yesterday. With the First Due Project, we believe every firefighter deserves the opportunity to grow, regardless of rank, title, or budget. That's why we're committed to affordable education, meaningful conversations, and creating an experience where people actually can connect instead of just passing through doors. If that sounds like the kind of environment you want to be part of, visit firstdueproject.org for tickets, and we'll see you in October, because you're not a number here. Now, on to the conversation with Joe Adams. Welcome to the studio. Joe, how are you, my man?
Good. Thank you for the kind words, sir. I appreciate that. Especially 5 decades. That really makes me feel young.
You lived it, and it's part of the reason for the show and bringing people on is to share experiences. And one of the things that I didn't mention in the intro, it's kind of neat, is we have a co-host with us today, Mrs. Passionate Leader, Shawnee. She's one of your mentees. And when she learned that you were going to be on the show, I felt it only fitting that she was here and part of the program. So
yeah, ask her who she took her essentials class with also. Her mom.
Yep. No, for sure. Exactly.
Yeah, but I was the favorite.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So for our listeners, we painted a really broad picture, and obviously, Ben, and fire service is in your blood. So why don't you kind of walk us through how the fire service really did get in your blood, and where what really became your why, and why you're still in the fire service.
Wow. Basically, sum it up. 1973. I was brought into the Crescent Fire Department at age 18, but before that, I was a fire station kid. My dad would take me to calls. I'd sit in the car, watch, sit in the truck and watch. Got a degree in fire science technology out of Prince George College in Maryland, and came home and just got totally involved in the department, worked my way up from firefighter all the way up to chief. And unfortunately, during that time, I lost three firefighters, one in 88 to a drunken driver, two in 1990 to a vehicle crash. And during that tenure, I was chief, and it took a hard rap on us. Um, and things got tough, but I became an instructor in 79, and I had great mentors. They taught me it wasn't about a paycheck, it wasn't about pay, it was about the students. And I just got into it. The more I got into it, the more I loved it. Unfortunately, back in those days, when you grew up with the fire service was number one.
Mhm.
Everything came after the fire service.
Right.
Unfortunately, I followed that trend and I lost a lot of memories with my daughter.
Okay.
Uh, and it took me up until probably 25 years ago, maybe 30, to realize that was the most stupidest, dumbest thing I've ever did in my life. Because I lost out time with her.
Mm.
One of the cutest things about her, and when I was chief, we were at my apartment. We got a call. We went down. I wasn't going to go, and she said, "Dad, you have to go." So we went down and got in the car, and she said, "Dad, red light. Dad, siren." So it was a lawn tractor. It's a lawn tractor on fire on the side of the road. I
Yep.
pulled in about a half a block away from it and told her, "You stay in the car." Okay.
Mm.
So I get out, walk up. As I happen to glance down, there she is, one hand on the door, the other hand on the ground. Yeah, excuse me, one hand on the door, her foot on the ground, the other hand and foot in the car. I said, "What are you doing?" She told me, she just looked at me. She said, "You told me to stay in the car." Yeah. Uh, and why am I still in it? It's in my blood. I can't tell you why. It's just
Mm.
something that you start doing and it becomes a passion.
Mm.
It's not a hobby, it's a passion.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
especially in, Crescent's a small department. We always were a small department. We had pride. Um, we merged. We saw it coming. What's in what's happening in the rest of the world. We did it in 2000, year 2000. That was a big step. You're taking two individual departments that have pride and transition, and you're saying now you're going to become one.
Mm.
It I'm not going to lie to you, it was tough first couple years,
Yeah.
but now we're in year 5, year 6, whatever the hell it is, and we still got some rough spots, but we're working those out. Uh,
Yeah.
and the biggest problem is number one, the finances. Number two, people to do the fundraisers, and unfortunately, people to respond to calls.
Mm. But one thing that is, anybody that comes from your neck of the woods, it always blows my mind how people are always at the firehouse, and whether it be because they are single and have nothing better to do, or maybe their lights just got shut off at the house. I don't know what it is, but there always seems to be something happening at the firehouse, and I think that that's something in the something in the water down there, because up here it's very unheard of. Shawnee can attest to it. We don't have People do not hang out at the firehouse at all up here. So, and it's not that it's not welcomed, it's just it's not really first nature for them to do anything.
One of the things I will say to that, it goes through a cycle.
Mm.
When you have a bunch of young guys and I'll use our station, we had a bunch of young guys, go getters. The chief went out, they put a bunk room in. I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
it lasted
Yep.
for maybe 2 years. There on the weekends, there's always crews in. But those people grew up.
For Isha.
And
Exactly.
Buddy
Yep.
knows some of them. They're, they've committed to other people. They've got married.
Mm.
Uh, right now, the younger crews they're all out working. I mean, 6 or 7 of our guys are in career departments. A bunch of them have professional drop jobs, and they get down when they can. Monday night's our training night. You'll find people there. Uh, and during the rest of the week, yeah, you may find one or two people there. During the day, it's the retirees hangout.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
someplace to go to bullshit and do
Oh, yeah.
things of that nature. Uh, but that's actually slowing down even at our station.
Well, and is it um, life responsibilities you think that are starting to kind of take precedent in setting in a little bit, or is it just a generational change?
I think it's a generational change for one, and the other thing is, I think life's catching up. Uh,
Mm,
you have children. You may be going one way one night, and the other way. Shawnee may be going in the opposite direction because of soccer games.
right.
Uh, I went, when my grandson was in T-ball, we never missed a T-ball game, and we drove to Maryland every Saturday to watch him play T-ball.
Yeah.
Then we watched them do soccer. It's just, I don't know, and I think that's transitioning to younger members right now, realizing, and it helps when the old guys are saying, "Listen, don't lose time with your kids. It's something
Mm.
you'll never get back."
You hit that on the head, and I think there's a lot of things that people do forget is, in being open and honest that you lost time that you'll never get back with your family because you were so dedicated to the fire service. Obviously, it is paying dividends on the back end. It you'll I huge love the fire service, but I am a firm advocate that it will take more from us than we could ever imagine even putting back in. And it's a very negative connotated thought process, but it's in my opinion, it's really honestly true because no matter how much we give to the fire service, there's always that next little bit more we could have given. And it just it by the nature of the service, it just asks for more without even needing more from you, or without knowing that you can't give any more.
There's a poem out there that says it all. Basically, is you know your wife is at home and she doesn't understand that other woman who at any time of the day or night calls and you drop everything and you run. And then you stay with her for how many longer times you have meetings and everything else. And I have been blessed. I really have. Shawnee knows my current wife. I say current. Uh,
I did
listen,
that once and almost ended up getting divorced again. So careful,
no,
tread lightly.
no, this one's great. She knew nothing of the fire service.
Mm.
And one of the nights she came to visit me, unfortunately, she was sitting here. The tones dropped. I went out the front door. I came back about 3.5 hours later, and it was like 1 in the morning, and she was laying on my couch asleep. And she looked at me. She said, "What happened?" I sat down and I didn't give her the details, and I just said it was a bad call. Da, da, da. She
Mm.
said, "You do this all the time?" And I said, "Yeah." And a couple of the guys that she worked with that knew me told her that, hey, his daughter's number one, the fire service is number two. If you can live with that, you may be okay.
Mm.
And surprisingly, she has been my biggest supporter.
I love it.
I mean, no matter what I get into over there, she's always okay, okay. And and that's the other thing that you need is somebody supporting you at home
Mm.
when you come back from those horrific calls. Uh, I mean, in my career, the one call I'll never forget. I think I was about 20. We had a trailer off. Mother was outside screaming, "My baby's in there! My baby's in there!" I couldn't get in the trailer window because of the way they were built. I jumped up the one time. My assistant chief decided he helped me in the window, and as I landed, I swept the bed and nothing, and I swept the floor and I hollered, I found her. My partner was coming in the window. I said, I got her. And I'm pulling her thinking, my God, this young lady is heavy. I got her to the window and it sounded like somebody turned the volume down to zero. And all I heard my partner holler, it's an effing dog. I just handed the German Shepherd out the door.
Mm.
I crawled 3 more feet, looked to my left, and there she laid. And I took her out the side door of the trailer. And it was tough on me because it was my first call. I
Uh,
blamed myself. I busted a helmet that night. Um, and the next day, my dad found out some information and called me and said she was dead way before you got to her.
Yeah.
It doesn't make it feel any better, but it was just one of those calls.
Mm.
Then, unfortunately, the cause of the fire was mom and dad were cleaning paintbrushes by the sink and using kerosene. And it was a
Yep.
gas.
Mm.
Yeah. There's
Gosh.
some of the things, I've had great memories in this. I've had great times. In 50 years, you'd be surprised the stuff you can get involved in. I participated with my department when I was a chief, when I was the president. I tried to go to everything and anything I could because if you're the man, you have to be there to support people. The
Mm.
chiefs and presidents that sit on their ass and don't do anything for their guys. I have a special word for them, but I can't say it on TV. Uh, you got to be there for your people. You've got to
Mm.
back them up, and you got to listen to them. And that's sometimes the hardest thing to do. And I was a safety and environmental director for 45 years, and I had to listen to people. I didn't have a choice. But when you learn how to listen, and I mean listen, you really hear a lot of different things coming out of people.
Mm. Man, you offloaded about a dozen questions, so be ready. No, um it's refreshing to see the perspective and your passion. Obviously, there's hasn't been a weekend that we've come down that you have not been teaching a class. So obviously, it's obvious that you care very deeply. Have
It's
you ever?
because he's the best.
Yes,
Thank you,
exactly.
hon.
Right. Are there any stats out there that you could guess as far as how many firefighters you have taught?
You are the second person that has asked me that question in the last 6 months. Um, and I can't even guess. I tried to figure it out, and I am not afraid to say probably since 1979, I
Oof.
have probably put at least 10,000 people through. Uh,
Jeez.
and the last 5 Shawnee, how long ago did you take Essentials?
I was 2016, so 10 years ago, I believe.
Okay. So probably for the last 25 years, I've done a program in January, February, and March. It's an essentials program. Um, I've never had any of those programs have less than 30 students in.
Holy
It was
Christ.
impressive. It was impressive. One of
And
my
they came from everywhere.
Mm.
Uh, and it was just because what else do you do in January, February, and March on every weekend? So they came to the station and we trained. Uh, you know, Pennsylvania's been through so many training programs that I'm not even going to talk about that. But anyhow, we were using, I think we started using ISTA 6, 7, 8, and they came. And I'm talking about 12-year-olds to 50, 60-year-olds.
Wow.
And it's a challenge, as you know, trying to teach a group because you have those that are very outstanding and catch on real quick. Then you have the ones that are there because they had nothing better to do.
Mm.
And one of the things that I asked every class that I've ever taught is, why are you here? Well, my dad did this, my mother did this, my generation wanted to help the community. And I'll look at them and say, no, I don't want that bullshit. Give me the real reason why you're here. Do you know that what's going to happen? Do you know? And you talk about that for a while. And I had a class 3 years ago. Never forget it. We were going around the room and I asked, why are you here? And I was getting some good answers. And a woman in the background stood up and she looked at me. She goes, I'm having a midlife crisis and I decided to be a firefighter. And I went,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had another class that I was doing, and a woman stood up and said, I promised my husband on his deathbed that I'd be a firefighter. What do you answer to that?
Yeah. It looks like we're making you a firefighter.
I am standing there, deadfounded, speechless.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and goes, Well, you know my husband. And it's like, huh? Here, her husband had several heart attacks and
Okay.
had a heart transplant and is doing exceptionally well. But that was her promise to him. And that's what she let off with.
No
Yeah.
freaking way. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong, right?
However, has anything ever beat the "my liver is cold" statement?
You had to bring that up, didn't you?
I feel somebody needs to elaborate on that for those that
Oh,
are a little.
I will be happy to. Like I said, I do my classes in January, February, and March. And part of the exterior program is hose line advancement. And we go outside, and I don't care what the temperature is.
Mm,
I don't care how cold it is. Uh, and we get down, we move hose lines and everything else. And this one class, this individual knelt down beside me. I said, "You okay?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "You ready?" She said, "Yeah." We moved about, I don't know, a couple feet, and she stopped. I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "My liver's cold." I stopped dead in my tracks and I said, "Excuse me?" She said, "My liver's cold. Can I go inside?"
And mind you, so
Go ahead.
I know that you just said that you don't care, but you aren't a badass instructor where, like, you're like, "Oh, if I'm cold, you're cold." Like, you had already told us, "We're coming out in groups." We were in, like, groups of 4, so it wasn't anything big, and you told us as soon as our group finished, "Go inside." Like, she was outside for maybe 10 minutes at that point. And it was cold because it was like a negative something degree day, and by the time you came in, I still have the picture of your jacket standing upright by itself because it was frozen solid after they yanked you out of it. But, like, she had not been out long enough, first of all, for it to be cold, but also for her liver to get cold.
That's and that story has traveled, and I don't know how people know about it, but every time I start an essentials class, is somebody will bring that up. "Can I come inside if my liver gets cold?" And I can't say what I'm really thinking, but I usually do anything. Oh, and I said, "Yeah, you don't have to worry about that. We 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 don't have that cold of temperatures anymore." We did go out and train on one day, JP, that I will say this, that the guy that I was teaching with, a gentleman, he was with the City of Altoona Fire Department, Tim Hughes, great guy, great instructor. Um, we went out. They were canceling churches on Sunday. It was that cold outside.
boy.
And Hughes looked at me. He said, "What are we going to do?" I said, "We're going to teach them what real life firefighting is like." And we went out and we simulated car fires, and
Mm,
everything that could go wrong went wrong that day, from hose lines freezing up, nozzles freezing up, SCBA freezing up. But we managed to get through it. We stopped, we told them what to do, how to do it. Uh, but when we got back to the station, they all said thanks.
mm,
At first, I thought they were dicking with me, and they said, "No, you just showed us what to really do when something happens." And I
yeah.
do. I make the comment, and this is going to sound strange. I teach for the street,
Mm,
um,
yep.
because that's where they're going to eventually end up. And you get to know, after so long, you can look at a class and know the ones they're going to leave your class and
Mm.
stay and be hell of a firefighters. The one sitting right beside you was one of the ones I picked soon as she came into the class. And her mom, they have, and I'll call it heart.
Yep.
And you don't see that too often anymore. They paid the dues. They did the homework assignments. They put up with climbing ladders, carrying hose, the whole 10 yards. They bitched, but they did it. You can't see that anymore.
Mm.
If we could put a phone out with us, if fires could go out with a cell phone, we wouldn't have to worry.
Oh, it's very true. I just sat in an interview to become a state staff instructor up here, and the one of the bureau chiefs use the analogy that a cell phone is like today's cigarette. As soon as somebody's on a break, the phone comes out of the pocket and it's in their hands. And it was a beautiful analogy because back in the day, it used to be we just took a break. Now it's time to take a puff on a cigarette, and then get back to work. And people now it's just check your phone, see what's going on the socials, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's how is that kind of that's a really good point. So how have you been able to over the course of teaching year over year over year been able to either accept or maybe even curtail that during classes or however you need to make the lesson learned, I guess.
It's really easy. When I started class, I said, listen, everybody has cell phones. I need you to tell me if you have a phone because you're on 24-hour calls 7 days a week, just let me know.
Uh-huh.
If you have somebody sick, ill, let me know. Other than that, if I catch you with a cell phone, first time's on me, second time, you're done.
I like it.
And there's usually not a second time because I can change my voice and become and can be a real asshole,
Mm,
but you have to be to get people to pay attention.
yes. Yep.
And trust me, they'll find ways to screw around that you won't believe.
Mm,
But the other thing you have to look at too, and I just had this happen to me. I had a young man that was so involved with it. You know what the IFSTA 7th edition, how thick it is?
yeah.
The kid read it in 2 weeks.
Holy gee, that is a certain level of specially involved, I should say.
He
Damn.
he was very involved, very interested. And I'd see him sitting around and he'd just be staring and looking around. And I finally looked at him. I pulled him aside one day. I pulled him outside and I said, hey, listen, you got to start paying attention. And that's when he proceeded to tell me. So I'm
Mm,
thinking, okay. So I just started throwing stuff at him. He
yeah.
answered everything that I threw at him. He
Holy
aced every test
Jesus.
he took, every quiz. I mean, he was into it.
Mm,
Unfortunately, he was so into it, he got bored.
okay.
Then that was
Yep.
taking it to the other extreme, trying to keep him interested as well as everything else. And what you do, you ask them, hey, how about going over here and helping your buddy? Will you
Mm,
do that? And, that starts the brotherhood and the
I like
sisterhood,
it. Yeah.
showing them, hey, this isn't a game you're going to do yourself. And I've told people that. And I've told people, if they say they're an expert, please do me a favor, get as far away from them as possible
Mm,
because they're bragging on themselves. Um, a great friend of mine once made the comment that if I call you my brother, you've earned my respect and my admiration.
mm,
And when he said that, it was like, wow, that's somebody else telling you you're good.
yeah.
Because how many people do you know will tell you how great they are?
Oh, I mean, nowadays everybody loves to tell everybody how good they are at something. If you need to tell me, you're not able to show me, is the way I feel.
Yeah, and the problem's starting to get people want to be up here. They want to be in those levels, and there's no way in hell are they ready for them.
No, yeah, exactly. So, what of all of the things that you teach is your most favorite topic?
Well, the one topic is the one that I tried to postpone my surgery for is
Okay.
Flammable
flammable.
liquids. I knew it. I knew it. You get so excited for that.
I am like a kid on Christmas morning. I am not going to lie to you. I was taken under. I was mentored by a great guy by the name of Herb Nagel and Cliff Jericho. Herb was the one that took me under his wing, and I was his protege in flammable liquids. Uh, and I have done flammable liquids from the time we were up on a drill, up on a strip pit where Uke went down and dug a hole, and we were taking fuel oil out of a 3,000-gallon tanker, and we weren't allowed to use breathing apparatus because it would get too dirty. Uh, you know, oh yeah. Um, I, I have had fire chiefs call me after flammable liquids, curse me out because of their gear. I said, time out. I told your firefighter to take it home, scrub it down, as soon as he got home. He'll
Mm.
take all that stuff out of it. If you let it set and dry, yeah.
Mm.
The other one, and it's going to sound crazy, is the Essentials program. Um,
Okay.
I I I like going in and taking the people that don't know anything
Mm.
and taking the time to make sure they know what they need to know, why they need to know it, and the proper ways to do it. Um, and that is both for a test and the real world.
Mm.
Uh, as I tell them, you may not be able to carry a ladder, but get it off and drag it.
Mm.
Just you got to keep, and I keep telling people you got to keep reviewing the basics. We had a working fire one night. We pulled in, stopped at the hydrant, hollered back, take the hydrant, and we sat there and we sat there and we sat there. And probably one of my other guys came running down the street, screams, "Go!" We go up. It was about a 24 by 24 garage, and we got the fire out. My second engine came in off another water supply and blitzed it. So I waited. Um, I was furious. I didn't go talk to the firefighter that day because I probably wouldn't be here today. I'd be in jail. I was that upset. So when I did run into him, I calmly looked at him. I said, "Can you tell what happened?" He actually looked at me and said, "I couldn't find a hose on the back of the engine."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. All he had to do was lift the hose cover.
I was gonna say you
So
guys have
I
pre-connects, correct?
No, this was the LD. This was 5 inch.
Oh, okay.
We
Never mind.
we were laying off of a hydrant,
Never
and
mind.
I met that young man a couple days later and said, "Here, take a rig a week. You learn it. Come find me, and we'll go over it. How's that
Mm.
sound?" "Oh yeah, real good." Never saw him again in the fire station.
No freaking way, huh?
Mm.
And it's given how much you've poured into the fire service, I'm sure there have been some highs and lows as far as, you've seen some accelerate and others that you just want to see do good that just can't get out of their own ways. How do you kind of handle, how do you, not let those ones drag you down, or just get so stuck and spinning out on, this firefighter just needs a little bit more before you finally realize you're investing so much time into somebody that just won't invest the time into themselves.
That happens at every class, no matter what class you teach. Oh, yeah, you do. And I will be honest with you, 15 years ago, I had run into a lot of those people. I had already turned down to do the Crescent class that year. I was just fed up. I mean, I'm thinking, and a good friend of mine called me, said, "I need a favor." I said, "What?" He said, "Can you come up to my station and do an essentials class?" I said, "Really? Can't you find anyhow?" The conversation went back and forth. I walked into his station the first Saturday that year, in January of that year, and ran a class. We started with 30 plus. We weeded the deadheads. Well, I didn't. The rest of the class weeded the deadheads out.
Mm.
And we get into the last two modules, and I had 15 kids, 15 firefighters um, that were the best firefighters I ever have. They gave me a reason to come back.
I love it.
They
Yeah.
gave me the reason why I should keep doing what I was doing.
Mm.
Um, and I've always said it. You said it a few seconds ago. It's when somebody comes up and says thank you, or when somebody says, "Hey, congratulations, you won this or you won that." I'm thinking, what the? I'm
You
just
you can
another.
swear. Swearing's allowed on this show. If it so feels good, let it rip, Tater Chip.
Uh, I'm one of these people. I'm just a normal guy. I'm
Mm.
no different than any other John instructor that's out there, even though some of my students will tell me different. Um, and it all depends why you're teaching. And I've said this at the beginning. If you're teaching for the right reasons, they're going to grow. Um, and I've always looked at it as a hobby. I've never looked at it for any financial gain. Christ, by the time you're done buying everything you need, because PA, they don't give us jack shit.
Yeah.
Well, thank God I have friends in high places that when their department gets rid of breathing apparatus, hey, you need another air pack. Hey, you need another turnout coat. I even had a gentleman from another state offered me turnout gear.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is, and it's sad because I don't know how many other guys around are like that.
Mm,
And it's so funny. Back in '79 and '80, you didn't. You were expected to do essentials. You didn't want to do any of the advanced classes. You had to earn that right.
mm,
Um, and at that time, Jesus, I think when I became an instructor way back in '79, I think there were only 600 of us in the state. I can't even tell you how many are in the state right now because they got, um, but if they're doing it for the right reason, and JP, you'll be a great instructor. You have the heart for it.
I appreciate that.
No, you do. For what little I've seen and talked to you, you know where you're coming from, and it's because of the kids, the people. Uh, and the other problem we're having is how do you keep them?
Mm,
I'm a firm believer that you got to, if you say thank you and mean it, that's one thing. But God damn it, t-shirts don't cost that much. Sweatshirts don't cost that much. A friend of mine who's a chief in another department, he just sent 10 people through Fire One,
mm.
giving each one of them a brand new New Yorker.
We're okay. Yeah. That's,
Uh, he told me
yep.
how many he bought. I said, "Okay, how'd you get a deal on them?" He said, "They don't meet the new standard; they meet the last standard, so they were trying to get rid of them." I said,
Hey, it is what it is.
"Yeah,
It
well,
still
he
meets
still paid.
meets the standard.
He still paid 4 figures for them, and he bought 20
Oh
of them.
yeah.
But that's how he's saying
Jesus.
thank you, and
Yeah, oh,
he's
yeah.
done that in the past with all of his guys that have finished essentials and everything else. And but it shows what he does. And I've said this to his guys. You don't know how lucky you are belonging in this department. Each guy
Mm,
has 2 sets of turnout gear. Each guy has a winterized high visibility coat to do traffic control with.
mm.
But that same department, he asks his guys, you need to come out and work fundraisers. If we don't
Yep.
have fundraisers, we can't do them. And the problem being is Crescent in this whole county is starting to be a retirement town.
Mm,
There's not that many people. This year we had a carnival gentleman who's been with us since 1968 call us in March and said, "Gentlemen, I'm so sorry, but I have to go out of the business because of liability insurance." The owner of that company actually went out and started calling people to find us a carnival.
mm.
Uh, we were blessed for this year. He had an empty week. So the Crescent Carnival will have rides and amusements. The Lily Carnival has went from a 5-day carnival down to a 3-day carnival, and they're bringing in bouncy houses and all that.
Mm.
Uh, and you know, when you start doing that, and when your people stop showing up, that takes the bottom line. Uh,
Yes. Yep.
and people think we've actually put on some of our shirts and all that. We're volunteer. Uh,
Mm.
we do a lot of stuff with the ambulance. We run QRS, and people will affiliate us with the ambulance and say, "Well, we're paying you guys." Oh, whoa, time out.
Yeah,
You're not
hang
paying.
on.
We're here to help them because they
Mm.
don't have enough people,
Right.
and now you just put an added pressure on your guys.
Mm.
You know, I mean, when I first joined in '73, we were probably in the 60s and 70s of calls. Last year we had 514. And I mean, the neighboring department that merged with us probably never ran more than 120 calls a year.
Mm.
We've been in the 300s for the last 10 years.
Jesus. That's
Yeah.
a lot for a little piece of little slice of paradise, so to speak. Did
Yeah,
you have
I
a
know, right,
question?
okay. I made the comment that siren could stay quiet and we never turn a wheel and I'll be the happiest guy in the world. So will fire chief.
Right, right. Did you have a question earlier? You breathed like you had a question.
I had a statement, but
Oh,
we're past it now, so
well,
we're good.
note number one: when you're a host on a podcast, you got to write notes down. That's why I have a
No,
bunch here.
I still remember my statement. It's just
Oh,
null and
Go.
void
all
now.
right, go whip it.
Go for it.
No, going back to, being an instructor and knowing how to speak to your people, I think that the biggest thing I remember from any of your classes was how you spoke to people with respect, no matter how angry you were, if you were angry. But um I think my flammable liquids class with you was right after essentials, and I think, what, 12 of us from the essentials class all signed up for the same one. Um, and we ended up I was put in a group with one individual from a neighboring town who felt that because he was a lieutenant, and I was directly out of my essentials and a female, that I should not have been on the nozzle. So he proceeded to pull it out of my hands during an evolution. To which one of the students that was in the essentials kindly reminded him that everybody in the class that day deserved to be there because they had all come from the same place. And that individual was from our essentials class, and he had learned that verbiage of being respectful, but also being like, hey, back off, from the way that you taught. You taught us that nobody's ever above anybody. Titles don't mean anything. Gender doesn't mean anything. And I believe after the nozzle got ripped from me, I proceeded to cry because I was pissed. That's my toxic trait.
It still happens to this day.
And then we did another round, and it was like one of the best I remember you coming up to me, and I was like, no, I still can't see anything because the smoke's in the way. And you wiped the soot from my mask and said, surprise. So it was one of the best environments to be in that situation, because what could have been a bad situation turned into one of, hey, we're going to respect each other because we've all worked really hard to get here. And that speaks wonders for your teaching methods.
Well, thank you. But I'm in a firm belief. I don't care whether you're male and female. And I'll tell you what I tell everybody else. There's guys that are great firefighters. There's women that are great firefighters. There's guys that are low lifes, and there's women that shouldn't be on the line. And matter of fact, there's two or three women that I use every time I do a burn class to show the young females in my class that this is where you can go if you desire. Uh, I've never had an issue with anybody, male or female, that you respect. There are a lot out there that don't give that respect, then they'll see the wrath of Joe. Because everybody's the same. And I don't give a shit if you're wearing a white hat or a black hat. You got to remember where you came from, and you got to remember how you want to be treated. Now, yeah, do we all blow up sometimes? Oh, yeah. But then there's two words you got to look at somebody after you cool down and just say, hey, you okay about that? And you make peace with each other again. We used to have a little bar in town, and it was called the Crystal Cafe. It was half a block from the fire station. There was more things settled at in that bar because guys argued it out. Did you ever take notice at a meeting? Nobody will say anything. They all sit there real quiet, and they agree. They look to see how JP's voting or somebody else's vote, and their hands going up with them instead of voting the way you believe. And unfortunately, since we lost that little tavern, people become mimes.
It's a really good way to put it. Yep.
They don't follow their heart. And one of the hardest things is going against people. But when it's your passion and you grew up with something and you created something, I step back and said, one of the other things that we did in our station, there was four of us standing in our station one night and listened to another department go on a structure fire and said, wow, wouldn't that be nice to have an aerial? Within 4 months, we we bought an aerial. Uh, we went to the city in New York, brought it home from a junkyard. The truck had a sign on the front of it. It said "Save for Old Claybrook." And I walked up to the guy that ran the place. I said, "What about that one?" He said, "Well, they didn't come through." I said, "Can you pull it out so we know that it runs? You're going to buy it." I said, "If it runs," and I'll never forget, there was a gentleman sitting in the truck reading the newspaper. And he said, "How much are you going to pay for this?" I said, $30,000. He looked at me and goes, "It's a piece of junk."
Mm.
Then when we bought it, coming home, the guys that were driving it at that time got stopped by the New Jersey police.
Jesus.
Red lights and siren. Cop walked up, said, "Where's the license plate?" They showed him it was on the dash. And they said, "We just bought this and we're taking it home." And the cop said, "You just what?" He said, "Yeah, we just bought this for our fire department." And he told them, one of the guys said what they paid for it. He looked at the three of them. He said, "Okay, just be safe. Don't speed." And the guy said, we can't go over 50 miles an hour, so you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. Some of the funny things. Yeah,
Oh
she was good.
man. I I it's amazing. So you hit on it during your, that you did in the intro in a little bit when you were kind of giving us, your hot wash of your career was the line of duty deaths. And I think it's something that we don't want to dwell on the negatives, but it's something that any of us, any leader in the fire service at a moment's notice could have this happen. I know that you probably didn't think it was going to happen because nobody can forecast that shit.
It was my biggest fear. The day I became chief, my biggest fear was, what am I going to do? What if somebody loses?
Mm,
Jack Fry got killed on January 17th, 1988. We were on an assist call, and the chief let us go. And he asked me, "Hey, can your fire police just hold traffic till we get the hose out of the way?" So when I went up to him, I said, "Jack, do you mind staying he said, no problem at all." Jack was an ex-chief. He had
mm,
been away from the service for maybe 15, 20 years. He came back. That was his
yeah.
first year back. Um, we got home that night, and I walked in the station, and they said, "You need to call the deputy down at Duncansville." I thought, "Oh God, what'd we do? Forget something?" When he told, I was not ready for what he told me. He said, "Hey, your fire police just got hit. It's not looking good. He's on the way to the hospital." I said, "Oh fuck." I grabbed my president. We went up, got the wife. She waited till her son came. Then we went down to the hospital, stayed with him at the hospital, and stayed there for a period of time. And I said, "I'm going to go home." And I went home, and I couldn't have been home any more than an hour. And I got a phone call that Jack had passed.
Mm,
Um, and it was tough because when Jack was chief, there were still a lot of guys in the department that worked underneath him.
mm,
And it was something that it was like, holy shit,
yeah.
what do we do now? Um, but I'll be my guys got through it. Uh, we had a lot of help. And that happened. Cool. No problem at all. I was coming home on the 17th of May in 1990 from a safety conference in Delaware. We got stopped and somebody said, "Hey, your Seagrave wrecked." They took people to the hospital. First thing that I thought of is, "Oh my God, my dad."
Yeah.
Uh, I pulled up to the station and I looked, and Evansburg had an engine in the station and guys, but the Seagrave was there. I'm thinking, "Oh man, somebody pulling a joke." Well, I went upstairs and they said, "Well, hey, Nutley and Booby just were killed this afternoon." And that was like getting hit in the stomach and kicked in the nuts at the same time.
Mm,
Uh, Booby was my uncle. Nutley was a family friend. And it was like, what do we do now? Um, so I went, checked on my dad. went up to my uncle's house. Then when I went to Nutley's house, and I'll never ever forget this, I walked in, knelt down, and she held my hand, and I said, "What can I do for you, Faye?" And she said, "Joe, bring my Tom back. Please bring my Tom back." Um, and I said, "I wish I could." That was on a Thursday. My department, we shut it down. I had
Yep.
neighboring departments handling calls. Um, and we cleaned places in our fire station those 2 days that probably have never been cleaned since the building was built. We had people coming in from all over. I had a neighboring fire chief show up that night. He heard it on the news. He came in and looked at me and he said, "Oh my God, you've had 3." I said, "Yeah, I don't need to be reminded." He said, "Man, I've only had 2."
Mm.
And he was the chief of a local career department. And as I was making the funeral arrangements, we were getting everything set up, I called him because the night of the viewing, he said, "Whatever you need, you call." I said, "Okay." So I called and I said, "Hey, I need some help." He said, "What do you need?" I said, "Do you think you can get a couple guys to walk behind the engines?" He said, "What do you mean?" I said, All my guys are tied up. They're beside the engines or something." He said, "No problem. I'll take care of it." I said, "Okay." And needless to say, I didn't see him the day of the funeral.
Mm.
Uh, there was a department that pulled in to come to our funeral that had lost 3 firefighters 3 weeks before that.
Mm.
You want to talk about conversation? That was a tough conversation.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, but what I didn't know that, and I will say this, it was the city of Altoona. Chief Santone got a lot of his guys to come up that day for that funeral, and they marched 2 miles from that church to the graveyard right with us. I only had asked them to go from the funeral home, but they marched.
Hmm.
And because of them marching, there was, and I've seen videos of this. There were many, many, many behind them. Um, and it, it it hit hard.
Mm.
And one of the things that drives me uh, is I push safety. Yeah, I was a safety and environmental director. But when you talk, you get a lot of greenies, you get the rookies. They can handle anything, man. We can do anything. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Mm.
Keep telling them, hey, listen. Uh, we had a commissioner in Pennsylvania, Ed Mann, that did a program. Everybody needs to come home. Uh, that hit home, uh, and it just you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring.
Mm.
And every day you do the same thing I do. You look at the secret list every morning.
Yep.
It's like son of a bitch. Um, and it doesn't matter the age. It doesn't matter career or volunteer. Um, one of the an instructor that I worked with that I would consider a good friend got killed in Lewistown, teaching a class at the most pristine facility in the nation, the
Mm.
fire school at Lewistown. But unfortunately, Bob Gallardi met his match that day.
Mm.
Bob was a great guy, great fire. He was an assistant chief out of the volunteer department, a captain, the city of Altoona, promising career, hell of an instructor. Um, but who would ever think at Lewistown?
Yeah.
And the older I get, the more I realize it could be anybody, anytime, any day. It doesn't matter. Um, and what can we do to make sure that our people are better able to hit the highway? And one of the things we've got to do, and people don't like doing this, is we got to be tough. We
Mm.
got you got bylaws and SOGs. You've got to enforce them. Um, and I've heard every freaking excuse there is. Well, I'm a volunteer. You can't tell me what to do. Well, you asshole. You signed the paper that you volunteered to commit to this
Uh,
department. I'm volunteering to commit to keep you alive. Um, and it's funny. I just sent a gentleman home last Saturday. Um, he went to do a fire one test, and he had 2 days growth. I said, "You're out of here." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I told you you had to be clean shaven." He said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "I really don't care."
yeah, you
Uh,
fucking know the rules.
there's a Sheetz 3 miles away, but there was another guy there who says, "Hey, I have an electric razor if you want to borrow it." And I'm thinking, "Oh God, one guy's going to use another guy's razor."
That's brotherhood right
Well, yeah, it's better. Yeah,
there.
I had an instructor up here that carried like dollar store razors in his truck and was like, if you need it, you need it, but you're not coming in here with more than, like you said, 2 days growth. So
I've always carried those, and it always amazes me um, that when you tell a guy he's got to shave, and he gets down and dry shaves, and then when he
mm,
comes back up, did you say, you did make a little bit of lather with the soap, right? And they look at you like you have four eyes.
You just need some sort of a facial lubricant. It could be peanut butter for all we care, but man, don't raw dog that stuff. Good
I,
God.
and I just okay. One of the other instructors I know, he carried dull razors with him intentionally.
Mm,
I don't know how he dulled them, and I didn't want to know. Uh, but it's the things like that. Uh, that and the other big thing, I had a young man in my class, great guy, great firefighter, but unfortunately, he liked piercings.
mm,
And I kind of had to explain to him, you may want to take some of those piercings out. And he said, why? I said, think of the protection you have, and if that gets hot,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, he did what Shawnee did. Yeah, he kept shaking his head. He said, okay, no problem. And after the burn was over, he looked at me, and goes, I'm glad you did, because we were still burning houses at that time,
Yeah.
and they got a little bit hotter than today.
Sure.
And JP, you asked about something. Unfortunately, the way we're training our young firefighters right now, I don't know what they're doing, what you do up there.
Mm,
We used to use a concrete building,
yep.
it, impounded up with skids,
Mm,
uh, until it had enough failures. Then we had to put two Connex cans
okay. Yep.
down, and they are like going into ovens. And I have
Mm,
told the students, you ever go into a building that is this hot, get the
yeah.
hell out of it, because it's not normal.
It's true.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and and I understand why people are shying away from acquired structures,
Mm,
but I can't tell you how many I burned in my lifetime, but it was the best training they ever had. As long as you had people that weren't hot dogs, that knew what they were doing, you didn't have any issues at all. And and I know, and I am blessed. I worked with some of the best guys in the world, as assistants, or I was their assistants. Sometimes we didn't give a shit who was in charge, just as long as the
sure.
job. It's usually the guy that they claim got charged had to do all the paperwork.
Yeah. This was your call, not mine.
Yes, exactly. Uh, or what I've done when I do a class now, I'll appoint a safety officer and
Mm.
look at him and say, "You're doing all the paperwork no matter what." Okay. Oh yeah, no, yeah, it doesn't go well.
So, oh, go ahead. You go ahead. Yep.
so going back to, you're never prepared for the things that we experience. Being that you touch so many people's lives throughout your tenure as an instructor or even just being in the fire service, what would you say your biggest piece of advice to the new guys would be when we do inevitably have that bad call? Because a bad call for you is different than a bad call for me or a bad call for him. So when they're coming to you saying, I'm really struggling with this one, like what is your best piece of advice for either stress relief or just getting out of your own way?
You take that person and you sit down and you try to talk with them. If they trust you, they'll talk to you. If not, you try to get them help. In the area, they have a SIDS team that you can bring in. You know how I talked about that little bar before? that that was the SIDS team. Guys would go up there and after a beer or two just start talking.
Yep.
Um, if we have a bad call, we'll go to the younger guys and say, "Hey, are you okay?" Um, and we have a coroner in Cambria County that if it's a bad call, he'll come to you, the chief officer, whoever's in charge, and say, "Hey, listen, give me some of your seasoned people because this is really gross."
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
But then, unfortunately, as firefighters, they're the nosiest people in the world. They're
Yep.
Sure.
they're worse than women. They're going to be up there. They're going to be up there looking anyhow.
Well, we're looky
Uh,
loos. Yep.
So you've got to talk to them. You've got to pull them aside. And one of the things about this generation, they're more apt to talk to you if they trust you, if they respect you. Uh, the biggest thing when you do talk to them, nobody else knows. You don't tell anybody about it. It was just between you and them, and they know. That's the biggest thing. And that's the biggest advice I tell anybody. If you see something that you can't take, because we're all different, talk to somebody. This is what I said about spouses. They get dumped on sometimes with stuff they don't want to hear. But they sit there and they'll nod their head.
Yeah.
Or if you know somebody else that's in the business that you can call any time of the day or night. These you've got to get to them. You can't let it build up inside them because with every call, it's going to get worse. And you have to be able to get it out of them. And unfortunately, you don't know who's going to be on that next call.
Yeah. Do when you had the line of duty deaths, I mean, were you flying by the seat of your pants as far as what resources you needed, or was it, was there stuff available for you?
Let me put it this way. That first one, when Jack got killed, we had no goddamn idea what we were doing. I called Lewistown, and one of my mentors was the local level instructor, was an instructor there's Chief McKay. I said, "Bob, what do I do?" He said,
Okay.
"What do you
Yep.
want?" I said, "I don't know what I want." So some of the guys started doing stuff, doing research. We got a lot of research out. We found out that the family has to be behind the casket, and especially when we had 2 line of duty deaths, we were talking about taking them side by side up the road, and then we said no, we can't do that. So we brought the one first, and with his family and people behind it. Then the second one came up with his family and the people behind it. Uh, the secretary that we had at Crescent at that time did a marvelous job. He went into and got all the forms that were necessary. When Jack got killed, the Blair County coroner was outstanding. He called me at work. He met me at work. And that's a real thrill. Have the coroner's vehicle pulling into work.
Sure,
Uh,
exactly.
but the other thing it created, uh, the insurance company wanted to know how many times we left Cambria County on an assist call.
Okay.
Did we do mutual aid, and we had to have agreements with those departments.
Yep.
So that created a new thing that we went to the different departments and got agreements with them that you call us, we call you. My insurance covers me, you cover you. Our county association has it was formed as a large mutual aid agreement.
Mhm.
And when it was first formed, it was fire department to fire department. Then we realized, shit, we got to get the municipalities who now provide us the insurance.
Yep.
And every municipality in the county went and did it. Took a little coaxing on some, but it came about. Yeah, yeah. We I don't I hope to God I never got to do it again.
For sure.
Um,
Yep.
I hate to say there's about, well, probably 5 or 6 of us right now that are still active in the department. When we lost all three, as a matter of fact, when Bob got killed, um, his two sons were on the. We had gotten a call to Asheville on an assist call. And while they were at Asheville, we were dispatched for a commercial vehicle accident. So they released our rescue truck to go to the commercial vehicle accident. When our rescue pulled on scene, the officer sitting in the seat recognizes his father's hat.
Mm.
And then his brother realized. And coming the opposite direction, one of our fire police pulled up, saw somebody laying in the road, went up to offer assistance, and it was his brother. But that night it was so funny. I'm in the station and I'm counting fire trucks, and I'm missing 2 instead of 1. And I'd ask somebody else, I said, "Will you count?" Then we finally realized after about a half an hour, we were missing our rescue truck.
Mm.
What was orange and white. Then we went, "Oh, it's still down the scene."
Gotcha.
So
Yep.
I grabbed somebody, and I'm sorry I didn't. I asked 2 guys to go and bring it home, and they brought it home. And when they did recover the vehicle out of the creek, our neighboring chief called. He said, "Please make sure none of your guys can be around 2nd Street," when they brought it through town.
Mm.
And like I said, my neighboring departments were unbelievable when that happened. It's just, I mean, and all volunteer. I mean,
Yeah.
a career department that stepped up like they did.
Yeah. I love it.
It's something I wish nobody goes through.
Mm.
But anymore,
No, it is something that I feel was important to share. I mean, we don't want to end
I
on
have no
a
problem sharing with it. I really
yeah.
don't. We actually had we actually had people during the wake. If we saw one of our guys having a hard time, we would walk up to this person and say, "That guy needs a cup of coffee."
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
person would take a cup of coffee over and start talking to them. We actually had the consultants come in about a week or 2 after the incident and talk to our members and families. And we actually had one of them take the kids aside and talk to the kids. Um, why'd we do it? Somebody said it was the best thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, it helped.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
we went, I'm going to say probably maybe a week or 2. And when that first call came in, there were a lot of people asking their significant others not to go.
Mm.
When I got to the station, both of Bob's boys were there. One was driving and the other one was sitting in the officer seat. And they both later on became chiefs of our department.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
yeah. I will say this, the Adams name is probably part of a legacy with the Crescent Fire Department. Um, yeah. And the local departments, a Lilly department, the name down there was Clar.
Yep.
If you go up the road to Evansburg, it was Scanlon and Lynx. You had those families.
Sure.
And you said something about leaving mills. Hell, I never thought anything of it about getting up and leaving a mill. One of the last calls I went to with my dad, we had just sat down to Christmas dinner. The tones dropped. He looked at me. I looked at him. And my mother said, "Neither one of you are going." I looked, and I'm going out the door, and he's right behind me. And yeah, we didn't come back till many hours later. It was an assist call, and she had everything on plates, put them in the oven, heated them up. What the hell do you do? It's just
No,
you know,
that
you,
yeah.
you become so used to it, it's second nature. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, I had heart surgery, and I was laid up. I couldn't do anything for a month. And do you know how you never realize that when those tones drop, it's automatic,
Mm.
that until you're forced to sit there, and it brings a whole new rationale to what's going on. And you learn a lot about your own department.
Sure. Yeah.
Some things are great. Other things is, Jesus, why'd they give them a radio?
Monday, it's hard to Monday morning quarterback for sure. Yep.
We no longer listen to any of the Blair County traffic when there's calls that go on because he gets frustrated and doesn't understand why I can
Oh.
understand what they're saying, but I can't hear anybody up here when they talk.
When I do not, we changed radio frequencies. We went to ultra high. We're in 800. They're still in 400.
Mm.
We still get assist calls into Blair. So we bought dual band radios so we could talk back and forth. They never bought dual band radios so they could talk to us when they come up here. Yeah, you do it to help the neighbor and the neighbor won't do it to help you. Go figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't care what county you're from. You can sit back and listen to them. They're assholes as like anybody else.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The best call is the one where, and we've had that happen. There was a neighboring chief that would get excited. He'd pull on scene, his voice would go up 2 or 3 octaves and everything else. And when I'd hear that, I'd just stop what I was doing, figuring we're going on an assist call.
Yeah.
Until one afternoon, they got toned out. He came on scene, very calm. I said, screw it. I got in the shower. Next thing I know, the whistle's blowing. So I come out. I said, what is it? They said, we're going to 71 for an assist. I said, are you kidding me? So we pull on scene, and I looked, I said, what do you need? He said, cool the propane tank. I'm thinking it's a little cylinder. It's a 1-ton cylinder in the backyard. Yeah. Okay. But I will say this, the rapport with a lot of the departments around here, they ran as one. That was because the chief officers got along.
That's awesome.
And that's what you've got to do. We're few and far between. And I'm sure the same thing up there. You go out in the morning, there could be 8 guys behind you at 9 o'clock, and at noon, there's 2 of you.
Yep.
And the same thing is trying to find people that want to get involved with the local level classes. And I understand why. 14 and 15-year-olds, I swear to God, they shouldn't be in those classes. They're not mature enough. But occasionally you'll find out 1 or 2 that's right there.
We had one in our essentials that I'm pretty sure everyone said multiple times the only thing holding her back was the fact that she was, I believe, 16 when she took it. And at that point, she couldn't do, I think, mod 3 and 4.
Right. She could do mod 3, she couldn't do mod 4.
Yeah.
JP, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course you can.
What's the essentials program like in your state?
We don't have essentials.
Yeah, I was
it's
gonna
just
say
Fire 1.
Yeah, we just go Fire 1. There's no essentials up here. It's just Firefighter 1, 2, and on.
Well,
They used
how
to
do they
do
get trained to go to Firefighter 1?
it.
Is that a flat?
Firefighter 1 is your entrance level into the fire service in New Hampshire.
Well, okay, so you're doing like IFSTA, Delmore, somebody like that.
So yes, we have switched from a few different. So it used to be a Jones and Bartlett type thing, and then we were IFSTA for a little bit, and then the last couple of years we were dabbling into the fire engineering book, but we're actually in the review phase of the new edition of 1044, I believe. So it looks like we're going back to the Jones and Bartlett. Now, what's unique about it is we're going from a minimum hours of like 140 or something like that to 240. I might have the wrong numbers, but we are literally, we are adding another digit to the hundreds column, if you will, for minimum of a firefighter. And this is whether you're a volunteer or going the career path. The state of New Hampshire is, Firefighter 1 is your entrance level into the fire service. Now, eons ago, they used to do the modules that similarly were modeled sort of like how I envision how the essentials were, where you get like your PPE and your SCBA modules, and you could do those at different places. But they've since done away with that at the state level, and now it's just your firefighter 1, 2, and then your fire 3 up here is just some form of a special class, whether it be high angle rescue, trench rescue, swift water rescue, stuff like that. So that's how it works up here.
Yeah. See, down here, when I first started, it was a 45-hour essentials class with a 60-hour advanced class behind it. Unfortunately, we've done the gamut. We've done everything. We went to four mods, each mod being anywhere from 20 to 40 hours long. You had your intro, you had fireground support, exterior, then interior. And that worked out well because you were bringing in the 14 to God knows how old. But now we changed that. We're going to Jones and Bartlett. We're switching from IFSTA.
Yep.
Uh, and we're using a program that they call fireground support. Then the second session will be firefighter 1, and the third session will be firefighter 2. And didn't realize this, but it's now mandatory that if you want to take the firefighter 2 test, you have to take the firefighter 2 class.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, that's how it works up here. You really can't challenge or whatever the phrase you want to use, but it's not bad. It's just that when I saw the change in what they're looking to do, so they've taken some stuff has gone away, like the cancer, the exclusive cancer health and mental wellness, were all lumped into a now firefighter health class. So now that's where you learn about cardiac, health and body health, mental health, being cancer free. And then they've lumped them all in, and they've added a lot back into it, which is it's kind of funny because looking at the visiting committee in the state that did all the work, they're all from the North Country, where the North Country of New Hampshire is very similar to, I'd say probably your neck of the woods, where departments are a little bit more spaced out. They aren't as staffed as they usually are. So it kind of surprised me to see those kind of departments have a lot of say in what was chosen, and all of a sudden now they're increasing by, I think it was like an 80-hour jump or something like that from what we currently do to the next. And it's when we're preaching on recruitment and retention, where are we at when it comes? So hopefully, with any luck, right now it's the technical review phase. So I haven't put together my comments on it, namely because I don't want to come off like a bull in a china shop. I'm like, man, you can't ask recruits to do this without completely blowing up the state on it. But that's kind of where we are, and it's neat to see how it works on there. The essentials are separate from the fire 1. Now, does the state require that as the minimum training, or is there even, let me guess, there's probably no requirement whatsoever?
I am so sorry. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the only thing that is required is what is required because of the EPA.
Okay.
And that's all. The guy that's riding on in your bucket doesn't have to have any training at all.
Really? Jesus Christ.
And here's what has happened. Training used to be free. Okay. Then the ETAs, the Educational Training Agency, said, can't do it. So they started charging a little bit. And what you would do is you'd buy a package. Let's say a bronze package was 200 hours of training. You'd spend $1,200 for it. You buy a gold package that included a couple certifications, and you spent $2,500 for it. But that would 24 people the whole 10 yards.
Sure.
Well, unfortunately, the college that used to offer the packages, they have a new president and changed things. So now they're charging $30 a student.
Jesus.
Yeah. So coming from industry, you tell me $30 for an 8-hour class. Yeah, okay, that's cheap, man. I'm taking that class. You look at the small department down the road that they're busting their balls to keep the doors open.
Right.
And it's hurting them. So I really think you're going to start seeing a drop in training in the state
Yep.
just because people are going to have to pay for it. Now you have some departments, they're not going to, yeah, okay, whatever, we'll pay. Just get your ass in here. And I need my
Sure.
people
Yep.
trained. But what's scary to me is the departments that are going to start using internal training
Mm.
with the guy that knows it all is going to be teaching these people what to do. And he's going to skip all the basic stuff and he's going to go to all this advanced stuff
Yep.
because the basic stuff's boring. And if you don't have your basics down, you're never going to amount to an advanced group. If
Holy
you can't
yeah. Oh,
tag
yeah.
that hydrant, if you can't get that ladder up, if you don't have people that can wear breathing apparatus and go into smoke-filled rooms, you might as well let the rig at home.
That
Uh,
that's scary as hell because you see it, at least I'll that Shawnee can agree with me or disagree. I feel sometimes when people take over and they're training, and I'm guilty of myself, you have this grand vision. You're like, oh my God, this is going to be such an amazing thing. So you aim so high that you're like, oh, I forgot all the baby steps at the very beginning. So the was it the crawl, walk, run method that they try to get us to try to teach people and get them into the fire service? You're going to get all these, like you said, these self-proclaimed experts are going to be doing the run, crawl, stumble, fall, walk method because they're not going to be able to, they're not going to be teaching anybody the absolute bare bones basics, and there's going to be a lot of assumptions that, oh, you should know that stuff. And it's just, man, that's a really backwards way to do it, I suppose.
yeah, and when you start making assumptions of people, you got problems. And when you start criticizing people because they don't come to training, you don't know what's going on in their life.
Mm,
And there are people that will pick training nights. Don't get me wrong.
sure.
Uh,
Oh, yeah.
that's why when I teach, I don't tell them what we're going to be doing the next week because if they're allowed to miss so many classes, then they won't show up at all. So
Mm,
you make them show and you do it. And I am so nervous about what's going to happen to the fire service right now. Because I can't see, and unfortunately with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, there's no minimum standard for a firefighter.
okay.
It's going to be the insurance companies are going to come in and start controlling. You need to do this, this, and this. It happened to my fire department.
Mm,
They came in and said, you guys need to have a safety committee. They need to meet monthly because of the amount of accidents you're having. First thing I asked is, I want a list of accidents.
right.
Yeah, they couldn't give it to me because 3 years before that, we had 2 people that suffered 3 injuries each. That's what they were looking at. So we have a safety committee,
Mm,
and God love our new chief. He wants to do near misses. So if we bang something up and everybody knows about it, we do a near miss investigation. But half our near misses aren't even talked about
yeah.
because nobody wants to talk about them. I backed into a guide rail 2 years ago. My fault. I didn't have a backup person.
Sure.
Nobody's fault. And I owned it. Uh, and that's what you need to start doing. You don't need,
Mm,
I said earlier something about thanking people,
yeah.
but you also got to discipline people.
Mm,
You can't let people do what they think they know how to do
that's
because
so, yeah.
it's like anything else. Oh, I can last 20 minutes. No problem at all. She'll go down before I will.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm talking about fire, Shawnee. Take the smile off your face. Jesus. Uh, I should have said that. I refer to fire as a she. Uh, but she's amazing. She's beautiful and she's dangerous. Um,
Listen, we're all firefighters here. We've got dirty minds. You knew not to expect anything less from me.
as I'm saying that, I'm just watching your face change expression. Thinking, oh God.
I
she took
tried
it
to
the
keep
wrong
a
way.
straight face, but I
Oh,
am my
yeah,
mother. I
right.
don't have one.
Horrible.
Yeah, you don't.
No, you're onto it, and it is scary. And that's so the insurance thing is funny because there's not a lot of departments in the Northeast, well, I should say New England area, that proudly put their ISO rating on the side of a fire truck. And to know that there's no real minimum standard for a firefighter, and that's probably a pretty good place to start as far as helping with an ISO rating, is making sure you guys are actually competent firefighters first.
You would be surprised how many departments around here post their ISO rating. And then you got the guy that devil advocates. How the hell did you do it? I train in your station. And then you hear how they come in the back lane. But here's something Pennsylvania does do. They will look they have, let me get this right, bronze, silver, and gold status. So the more people that you have as Fire Ones, you can go from having a bronze sticker on your vehicle to a silver sticker to a gold sticker. And it's all on the amount of, it's a ratio of how many Fire Ones you have per your membership.
Okay. Yep.
And they started it, probably 35 years ago. And it's starting to come back right now. And I look at it, it's because of the grants.
Sure. Yep.
Because when you start looking at grants, if my department is in competition with somebody in New Hampshire, they're gonna look at how many Fire Ones you have.
That's for sure.
And if you have Fire Ones, Fire Twos, in any of the specialties, and you have them all listed, that might give you that little edge to get that money over Joe Blow.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to get tougher and tougher. I read today what the new grants are looking for, what their hot topics are, and I thought, Jesus, how the hell are they going to do this? They want health programs, they want physical. That's great, but what are you going to do after you find out something's wrong with them?
Yeah, say what's step 2 after that?
Yeah.
It's a good point. We've identified the issue. Good. Let's fix. No, that's not part of it. No. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly.
Yep.
And unfortunately, I've worked workman's comp on both sides.
Yep.
And the first thing they're going to do is ask you, did you follow your procedures? Yes, 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 yes.
Yep.
And what amazes me is lately the court awards of money that fire departments have been sued by next to kin, and they have lost. The one, it's out in the Midwest where it was 41 million.
Jesus.
And, they actually came live and they talked about why they did it. And then the attorney said, I don't take cases like this until I reviewed them. JP, if you ever have the opportunity, I have it around here somewhere, you need to listen to it. They were 20 minutes into it before they appointed a safety officer.
Holy fuck.
You heard the guy calling the Mayday. The guys on one of the divisions heard it. None of the chief officers did. Well, look at what just happened in Boston.
Yeah.
What was that? 3.2 million. And if you look at why as somebody said, well, we got too much stuff to remember now. You don't have shit to remember. Just do your job.
Yeah, we're still teaching you. It's the same stuff. It's the same freaking stuff.
Put water. Buildings fall down. You need to have people watching your buildings. And that's what scares me. That people aren't following their own procedures.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So flip side of that though, you've already done it for 53. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't think you're going to get another 53. I know I might not get 53 more.
Listen. What? Yeah, I'm not even trying for that. I have my own goal. I have a number out there that when I hit it, I'm going to step back.
Is it a publicly known number?
No, nobody knows that number. I haven't even told my wife.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
but it's a number that I want to reach, and
Mm,
I can do it. Uh, but then I'm going to be the pain in the ass in the sidelines. I'm God
sure.
will- God willing, if I'm still able, I'll still be bitching at the fire hall about the stupid shit and taking people out.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Um.
the
So no, go ahead.
No, it's just you have to know when.
Amen.
Um,
Yep.
and that's the hardest part. My brain says, "Oh man, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this," and my body's going, "The fuck you can."
Saying, please, God, no.
When that time comes, what on the horizon of the fire service are you most excited to see happen, but also slightly disappointed that you might not be around to influence it?
I'm going to say this: it's going to be regionalization in my area,
Okay.
and with minimum manning 24/7.
Mm.
They, it's needed.
Hmm.
Egos need to go. People need to realize you can't do this on your own. The other thing is more involvement with what's going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. My wonderful assistant is writing something on a piece of paper, so bear with me.
Christ. What's she going to do to me?
No,
Go ahead.
I was thinking of how to word it,
Just
but
let it rip.
no, I already lost it. The train's gone. It's
No, the
All
train shows
right.
up there on July 11th. It's called the Big Boy. It's making its appearance. Jesus Christ.
the wheel is spinning, the hamster's dead. It's gone.
So,
Bye.
I know you had one question you were jokingly going to ask, but I think you need to after before we wrap it up. I have two more, one from her, and then our traditional end to the show, and then we'll get you on to the rest of your day because this has been a hell of a conversation. We could probably go for another 4
Well,
hours.
yeah, we could probably.
53 years is a really long time, and it's something that I think a lot of people need to understand is a labor of love. What have been some of your some of your proudest moments of those 53 years?
One was being elected chief. One was being being an instructor. Um, Putting a ladder truck into my station. One of the things I did on the county level. Yeah, I just don't fuck around with my own department. I got to go get involved in the county. Uh, um, and I became president, and I appointed a committee to create. I created a certification committee to
Okay.
bring certification to Cambria County.
Mm.
That was yeah. Oh, that when was it? 1999 or 2000. I was given an award from Butler County Community College as an instructor of the year.
Mm.
Uh, but what means the most to me is when people come up and say, "Thanks, Joe," or somebody comes up and says, "If it wouldn't be for you, I wouldn't be where I am today." And that's when I usually look, "What'd you do? Just get out of jail?" And, they look at me like I got two heads, and they say, "No, I'm a career officer right now," and da 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 da. And it's the little things like that that make your day.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, it's the little things in life. It's not the
Yeah.
big things. It's those thank yous. Uh, the, somebody, sends you pizza to your station for no apparent reason at all.
Yeah.
Uh, and the other thing is, I've worked with a great bunch of guys.
Mm.
Some of them are no longer with us. Some of them were major influences on my life that I credit to be where I am today.
Mm. You want to ask yours?
Mine is half joking, but also half serious. So you taught both Sierra Bardell and Shawnee Bardell. Who was your favorite and why was it Shawnee?
Well, the problem with Shawnee was she was with her mother, and she was late for class on a Sunday morning, and she
That
blamed
was
her. Oh
that was
no,
mother. Mother was driving.
yeah, but couldn't you got mother earlier?
No, if you ask, I'm not going to name drop on this. There was a Duncansville firefighter that was with us that'll back me up because he was late too.
Yeah, because of the night before was the Duncansville banquet, and I knew that was coming. And the best part was when your mother
Interesting.
showed up out at the fire school site and just started slowly peeking her head around the door and thinking I wouldn't notice.
However, Sierra also had mother in class too. I don't know if you remember that.
Well, I can remember this. Yeah, it was Sierra. I'm sitting there. She goes, "Man, I wish I'd have brought gear so I could have went in with her." I said, "Well, it's you lost, not me." Next thing I know, I go in with Sierra and I'm coming out, and your mother has turnout gear on and an SCBA.
Yep.
Where the hell did you get that? Never mind. Okay.
Don't you worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it. It passed the inspection.
Well, yeah. JP, what I was worried about, it was one of the instructors. I was afraid she stole their gear.
That's fantastic. Oh, my word. Well, so the last question, do you have any more questions before we wrap it up?
Nope, I do not. I'm actually going to go up and let the dog out because he is clawing
he's
through the
being a dog.
floorboard at this point.
Um,
It was good talking with you.
Good talk to you, Shawnee. You take care of yourself.
You too.
so the question that everybody gets, a new firefighter or even a seasoned firefighter walks up to you in the apparatus bay and says, "Joe, I want to start my journey down the road of becoming a leader." What is your one raw, unfiltered, and unadulterated piece of advice to help that firefighter head the road successfully?
Treat them like you want to be treated. You've got to treat people. You've got to treat people with respect. You can't go up the ladder and forget where you came from.
Mm.
If you forget where you came from as you're climbing that ladder, you're going to end up being an asshole and an idiot. I'm sorry, I've seen it happen.
Yep.
If you remember where you came from and you get people's opinions of what the department can do, or asking them for advice, you'll have a department that starts working together because everybody will think they matter.
Mm.
If you and I'm sorry, JP, I still believe that today.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
You've got to get people to buy in. You put 30 people in a room, you're going to have 30 different ideas. The
Mhm.
idea is try to take those 30 ideas down to 5 and work with those 5. The problem being, I'm trying to think how to say this. Today, in this day and age, we're in a give me society.
Yes, we are. Yep, without a doubt.
Well, I don't think we need that. We need to put a heavy duty walk-in rescue in here, or we need a new ladder truck. Where are we going to get the money?
Right.
Well, when you take me off, I can tell you a horror story. Fuck it. I'll do it now. When you try to advance your department by buying other people's equipment
Mm.
and you believe in those people and you end up with fucking junk. We bought an engine from a department and we had to put probably 25,000-30,000 into it. We bought
Jeez.
an aerial that was supposed to be, they just came out of the shop. Let me look at a calendar. I'm not being a dick, but I just want to look at something.
Oh, yeah, no, of course.
It's been in the shop for the last 3.5 months.
Holy shit.
And there was nothing wrong with this truck. What they have found, let's just go with a couple of big things. What they found is some way, somehow, somebody replaced the electrical on the bed section of the aerial.
Holy shit.
Well, wait, and they never caulked the opening where they put the wires.
Oh, my God.
So that whole area filled with water.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, that truck we test them every year annually, but every year that truck has to have thickness checks because it's rusting from the inside out.
Holy Jesus Christ.
You would get down the road and you would throw the generator switch on. Sometimes it would work, sometimes it won't work. They tried it 50 times, it didn't work. The 51st time it worked. All the lights didn't come on at the same time. So it was taken down to a local manufacturer rep and said, "Okay, tell us what's wrong with it." And it was like, holy shit. So they thought that they were going to have to pull the ladder off. The pins that the ladder swivels on, if you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
the one was galled solid.
Oh my God.
They had to use
Ah.
nitrogen and a sledgehammer, then nitrogen and a press to push it out.
Holy Christ.
They didn't have to cut it out, thank God.
Yeah.
So, because of replaced nose, the truck needed aerial testing again. The wiring underneath, I'm no mechanic, but they found wires put together with the little wire nuts you use in your house.
Yeah, 'cause those are automotive grade, no? No, I thought
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
And they found wires they found a set of wires in a ball the size of a softball. And the guy
Good.
and the main maintenance man said, couldn't that thing catch on fire as you were bringing it down here? So they've done that. They've got everything done. Hopefully, I shouldn't say that right. Hopefully, it's a 2008. Yeah, the other thing, it was involved in an explosion
Oh, cool. Yeah.
that knocked the doors off center on the one side of the
What?
truck. We were never told that either.
Oh,
They repainted the whole truck.
man.
The only thing when they did repaint, when they put the stripes on it, it goes from 8 inches down to a 6-inch. I never noticed it. The guy at the shop, he said, why'd you do that? I said, we didn't do that.
Mm.
So, we had a 2006 Crimson 100-foot ladder. It malfunctioned. It had a mind of its own. And I mean a mind of its own. We were on a working fire. I looked up the one time and I saw the guy in the turntable jumping into the cab. Then he went back onto the turntable. So when he came down and when he did it the second time, I walked up. I said, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
They're losing control in the bucket, and the only way we can get it back is shutting the truck off and starting it again.
Holy Jesus.
So that truck got fixed. It was running pretty well for us. Then it went to a fire one night, and they went to go to the left and went straight ahead into the building.
Oh.
Yeah, so it got pulled out of service. We spent a lot of money on it. We sold it, and a neighboring department bought it. They've had it now for 4.5 months. They have not had any problems with it at all.
Really? Go figure, right?
They had one issue. The night they got it, they were playing around with it, and a guy pressed the EPU button on it.
Mm.
And that's a toggle switch where you got to turn it off.
Yep.
Then the next thing they smelled smoke.
Ew.
So they shut the whole truck down. But other than that, it's working great.
Huh.
We bought this piece of shit that we have now to replace that. And we were a tower company. I'm sorry, you don't go from a ladder to a tower. But the other thing we did, they went out and bought us a standby truck, a 1992 Pierce, 75-foot, 1,500 gallon pump. It was the city of Chicago's.
Really? Okay.
It was when our guys bought it, it was being used by a contractor. His guys were painting buildings with it.
God.
As they were bringing it home, it blew 2 tires.
Oh boy.
So it got 6 new tires. And I will say this, the people in 1992 were fucking midgets because to get into that stuff is the son of a bitch. If you're, I'm 6 foot, 225. I have a hell
Yep.
of a time getting in the officer seat. That fucking seat wasn't made for big people. But it's been the most. Matter of fact, it's front line. It's our aerial that we're running out now.
Mm.
We used to run the Quint first. Now we're running an engine first. For
Sure.
reasons why. Yeah, and it's when you just keep throwing money after money after money. We figured it out. What we spent on this one so far, we could probably pay 30% down, maybe 25% down on a brand new one,
Oh,
and
man,
worry how to
right?
pay for it for the next 15 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, then then our compressor shit the bed. And they found metal shavings in the oil.
Really?
And this thing is serviced annually. It doesn't have more than 500 hours on it. And we've had it for 15 years.
Holy Christ.
Yeah, so now we're out trying to figure out what are we going to do. And now the guys are bitching because they have to go to neighboring departments to fill air cylinders. Yeah, it's funny. It's just funny listening to them.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
keep saying, we got to figure out how we're going to pay for a new one.
Right. Yeah. Start focusing that energy of complaining on how are we going to get a new one in the firehouse. Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. And the two biggest fundraisers. Well, we run two gunoramas, a golforama, a fucking ticket tournament. If you want to ever see the board, go to a ticket tournament. All that is you get these tickets in piles and you rip them, and whoever has the most dollar points wins. And it
Oh,
starts
geez.
at 5 in the evening, and it's usually over by 1:30 in the next morning.
Holy crap.
Yeah, we
Oh,
don't
my.
do anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing simple and easy, I suppose. Holy God damn.
And it's funny. The chief we have right now is really a man before his times.
Yeah.
He's talking to some little departments that are around us. Do you really know it would be better to join us? And one department doesn't want to run as much. They said, well, we'll just put it in alarm cards. You want to go in your first new district or in closer to us? He's talking to them with intelligence and with respect. And that's what it's all about. You ask, and that's what it's about that way. And the problem, I don't know what your problem is up there. Ours is manpower. And the people do you have, do you really want their attitudes? And how do you change them to better themselves?
It's true. Yeah. So right now for us, it's a manpower thing, but sometimes I have always forever lived by the mantra of I would rather have 5 absolute, knock walls down, energetic firefighters than 55 where you still only have the 5 guys that show up, but you feel comfortable because your roster looks good. And
I totally agree with you. Totally agree with you.
We're getting there, and it's there have been a few times, we'll use training the other night. I think we had 4 firefighters come for training, and it just happened. Sometimes the summers and people's schedules just get in the way, and there's nothing that we can do to fix that or be, we can't be upset about it because we are, with the exception of myself and the chief, where everybody else is, paid on call. So you get what you get, and you kind of like it. It's the hard part is seeing some of our more seasoned and tenured members who are like, where the hell is everybody? I'm like, there are other commitments, their family, they got ball games, they got second jobs, they have a mortgage that needs to be paid, and they're not going to.
Guys don't understand that, do they?
No. And it's tough because they are used to even the slouches will show up for calls. And now that we have no real slouches, it's sort of like, where is everybody? It's like, well, this is our department. These are the ones that are going to get the job done. And, it kind of is what it is. But
And it's so
mm.
funny. When I think about it, somebody looked at me the other day and said, "You still wear an air pack?" I said, "Yeah, I know. Why? What the fuck am I supposed to do? Come up, tell the?" Because there are times we'll go out of the station with the driver, me, and maybe one other guy.
Yep.
And the driver's an ex-chief, and I'll look at him and say, "You got it. I'm taking this." Uh,
You go play, or I'm going to go
yeah,
play. You handle this nonsense.
but and the guys just look at me like, "You go out and you teach and you wear an air pack all day." I said, "Listen, by my ability to do that allows me the ability to still wear that air pack in the station, even though
Yeah.
I hate the new air packs." Um, and I can see the few. I don't. 20 years, my station's going to be hurting.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I
Um,
think a lot in a lot of areas, but I feel, and it's unfortunate because I will fight tooth and nail, and there's a few hills that I will die on, and one is in full support of the volunteer fire service. But we also have to really come to the realization sometimes that it is not the number one most successful business practice or business model for serving our citizens. It unfortunately just is it dead? I don't think so. I feel there is still some ability to bring people in and sort of ease it into, okay, now we're a combination department. Okay, now we're more full-time staff than we are part-time staff, or whatever the case is. And then eventually now you guys are like Altoona, and and it's, full, whatever the case is. But like you said, regionalization, I think, is going to save areas like yours where, houses can combine and such like that.
and that's where it's going to take officers and all of those departments to realize this.
Mm,
Uh, the egos are so big around this area. It's unbelievable.
right.
And one of the departments is trying to pick up more calls. He's running a
Yeah.
lot of standby calls, and his guys are getting fucking tired.
Yeah, you're beating your help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he says one thing to us and says another thing to his guys, and a third thing to other people. Um, and you just don't understand. You don't understand because, yeah, would I like to get down to 2 engines in a truck? Yeah, I'd love that. It's
Right.
less maintenance and everything else. Uh, but we built ourselves up, and we bought a tanker because the areas we surround are rural areas.
Mm,
I mean, probably if you'd look at it, 60% of the areas we go to don't have hydrants. So that's why the big boy's there. And
yeah.
when you look at when we looked at the statistics of the truck, the tower, how many times was it used in our own district? Maybe once or twice in 5 years.
Really? Oh man. Okay. All
It was
right.
it was an out of town piece.
That's that in, for some, that's a very hard pill to swallow. I mean, I could tell you in our neck of the woods where we rely more heavily on taxation, people pay, their property taxes, and part of it comes to offset our, operations. I could see where people be like, wait, one time that often? You don't need that truck. We're not a subsidy of the other communities. And I laugh because on the on the flip side, they're like, but who are, we don't give them the stats. It's like, yeah, but we're also asking this from our neighboring town every single time. So it's just one hand, you scratch, my back, I'll scratch yours. That's just how it works in the American Fire Service.
Yeah, and here's the other reason too. We brought that ladder truck in. We saved every commercial building owner in this area. I don't know how much money because it jacked our ISO class up.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
And we used that. We still are
Yes.
using that. Um, and what's really funny is we had a gentleman in town, very predominant, owned a lot of businesses. And if you needed something, if you would ask him, get me the information. Then after you explain the information, how many times are you going to use this?
Mm.
When ticks first came out, we approached him and asked him to buy us a tick. He said, "How much does it cost?" It's $15,000. I'll never forget it. He said, "Answer me this. Will you go to the neighboring town and use that?" "Yeah, why?" He said, "Okay." So he called a predominant businessman in a neighboring town and said, "Give me $7,500. You're helping to buy this piece of fire.
Okay.
It's going to be used in your town, but it's going to be on Crescent's apparatus."
Yeah.
He just got him. And that guy never said no to him. He said, "When do you want to check?"
That's amazing. And they get it.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Nope.
Uh,
Community support.
but that's not there anymore.
No, it is very much a, what's my return on investment or what's in it for me, and it's a societal thing, unfortunately, and I don't know how to fix that. There's a whole lot in the world that I don't know about, but
And you said it earlier. It's a business, and you have to run it as a business.
yep,
I
yeah,
mean, the state of Maryland, their legislature just passed anything greater than 42 hours in a work week, you must pay overtime.
mm,
Some of the counties down there were giving out a Kelly Day to make up for the overtime.
sure, yep,
Now, all those counties they looked at it, and it's more feasible for them to put another whole shift on
yeah, yep,
because and you just think about it, it's going to happen. I mean,
oh yeah, yeah,
the career departments down here, God, I feel sorry if the city of Altoona is running for 2 guys on a rig.
yeah,
So that's 8, 10 guys on a working call. They won't call the volunteers. They got a hard on for the volunteers. The
mm,
city of Johnstown is 5 guys on shift. If they call for a second alarm, they get 3 volunteer departments that match. This is the big difference. Those volunteer departments, the city went to them and said they got to be fire 1, fire 2, clean shaven, this, and this. Then we'll call you. And
mm.
those 3 departments said, "No problem, you'll get it."
Okay, all right.
And,
I mean,
and
there's
I commend
yeah.
that union president and that fire chief that made it happen. They were thinking of their guys.
Yeah, yeah, and it's so we'll get that a lot here. Nashua was our biggest, very, very, very similar to Altoona, and they'll have a big call, and a few of our members will be like, "JP, at what alarm do they call us?" And I'm like, "Never. They're not going to call us." And they're like, "So, well, why not?" And I go, because they know that they're going to call all of the other full-time departments in the area, because they would much rather know, okay, so I'm going to call this town that's a little farther away, but as soon as we ask for help, their rig's already rolling if it hasn't already started this way. For the volunteer side, now you have the delay of, hey, we need help. Can I leave work? Can that guy leave work? Can that girl leave work? Yeah, we can scrounge together a piece real quick, maybe a quasi engine company. And now we've dicked around for half an hour trying to get a truck out the door. Now another half an hour to get to their scene. They don't need us anymore, so they're going to call the departments. And it's just it's knowing that, but to know that departments, that's a great idea, right? And I mean, it sounds, on at face value, for those that aren't paying attention from a managerial standpoint, it kind of sounds like a dickish move, but I can tell you it actually increased the overall service level for those volunteer departments too. Now you got your fire 1, fire 2 certs. Look at that. In a volunteer firehouse. Go figure.
Yeah.
It's a managerial move.
And I tell people, you're not getting a fire 1 because your fire department wants you to. That's because you want to. You've got to have goals. You get into this business without goals, you're never going to go anywhere. You have to have strategic goals. And
So
I can
good.
honestly say I reached those in 53 years.
That's awesome. Yeah. No, that's
what you got to do.
yeah.
the other thing is I will be in contact with you. I talked to the other guy that has our show, Courage on the Go.
Yes, that's a great segue. Yeah. So for those listeners that want to get more of Joe, because Joe goes on and on and on. He's the Energizer Bunny. What is go on as far as what that project is and that endeavor and everything like that.
It's on what they call WTAJ Plus.
Okay.
Now, okay, I know if you have Fire Stick, you can get it. If you have a smart TV, anyhow, what it is, it's myself and another chief who happens to work for WTAJ.
Okay.
We bring up different topics. We talk to fire departments about what are they doing, what can they do, what can they do better. We brought in a representative of Bucks County Community College and had him explain his things. We had Heather on twice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she was on for president of the fire department, how a woman in the fire service, and also about her project that she has carries so dear to her heart, Pennsylvania Responding. We just did one, JP, and I'll tell you, it's called Why Drown, WHDRO. And this young man that did it, he's a great guy. He came out and created a program to teach children 1 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 and above. They come to the program. They all leave with a life jacket.
That's awesome.
And they all leave with a throw bag. What the throw bag is a backpack that he gets that can hold 40 pounds. And he put 75 foot of some type of rope that he tested all the ropes.
Mm-hmm.
And he got one that can float. And they spend part of the class throwing the bag. So
that's so cool.
Nobody gets hurt.
Yep.
Yeah. I am so pissed that I can't get my grandkids to come up to this.
Yeah.
But he did his biggest class 2 weeks ago. He had 66 people in it.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
We're bringing him back on to talk more about it. And but it's that we're going to bring some people in and talk about how the fire service has changed in 50 years. It's little things like that. And now here's how I got involved in it. I convinced this guy, our chairman of our fire school certification committee, our county certification committee, quit.
Yep.
This guy had been a fire chief. He's very, very advanced, had a blowout, said, fuck it. So instead of running fire calls, he was driving an Uber.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, no, this guy has a waste of education.
Right.
So I cornered him and said, hey, why don't you take over certification? He said, what's it involve? I said, really not that much. I said, I'll help. So I got called, and this was at a dinner that they have once a year for all the past presidents of the county. So I got a hold of the current president. I said, I got a guy to take over certification. He said, you shitting me? I said, no, talk to him quick. So I introduced this RJ to Josh Trisco, who's the president. And RJ, yeah, okay, no problem. Yeah, sure. So when we left the meeting, the guy that resigned as chairman screamed at RJ, why are you taking it over? You should have, you don't want anything to do with that. And it blew my mind. Why? But so RJ takes it over, no problem at all. So then I get a phone call from RJ. Hey, what are you doing on this Wednesday? Why? I need you to come down to the station. Why? We're going to try stuff. Why? So I get down like an idiot. I said, what's up? Doesn't tell me a fucking thing. He said, hey, we're going to do the first show of Courage on Call. I said, what? He said, yeah, don't worry about it. He said, I got the Clearfield Fire Department. I said, "Oh, great. I know all those guys." So we walked in and they start the Clearfield Fire Department. And I start asking questions. RJ starts asking questions. And what we didn't know until a couple of days later, we had the assistant chief's name as we called him the chief. We called the chief the assistant chief. Oh, it was such a fuck up. Uh, but we've got better, and it's something different to try. The
Hmm.
manager of the studio had the idea.
Yeah.
So what they're hoping is Nest. They're owned by Nexstar.
Yep.
Nexstar owns News Nation, and so they're upset. They got too much. They got too much news on WJA plus. Oh, they
Uh-huh.
have women on their talking shows, clothing. Oh God, it's sickening sometimes.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
the sports, the whole 10 yards, but they're touching that other side. They're going for the people that aren't sitting in front of TVs.
Right.
That they can bring this up on their phone, on their laptop, and it's RJ's RJ's hoping that they decide to go 1 or 2 nights a week, and Joe's saying no. Um, but I told him, as long as you're in there, I will stay with you,
That's awesome.
and back him up. But and I'll tell you what, trying to find things, you run that. How hard
Yeah.
is it to find people to talk? How hard is it to find a subject that's going to
Right.
interest everybody? At first, I thought this thing was only going to be shown to firefighters. Then they said, "Oh
Mm.
no, we're showing this to everybody." And boy, did that change my outlook on life.
It's so fun to watch other people's missions and visions become realities. And you're not wrong. When I started with this, I'm like, man, what am I gonna, I used to spend more time trying to formulate the show, like what questions to ask. And over the course of the last, I've been just under a year. Actually, it's funny. Um, Another fellow podcaster who lives locally, I had reached out to him during one of Gavin's only night ball game. I remember sitting there and I was like, I think I want to pull the trigger on this. I want to do it. So I reached out to him and I sent the text, hey, I'm thinking of doing it. What do you have, for advice? And it went like an hour without texting. And he's usually pretty quick about getting back. I'm like, oh, I just pissed him off. I just pissed him off. Well, I just ruined that friendship. I mean, long story short, I have, but it wasn't, that was not the catalyst, So finally he texts back and he's like, oh my God, get this and this and do this. And same thing. I'm starting, the show, and I'm like, okay, I gotta have questions to give us content. And man, now it's more of I've improved, where I know like the follow questions, like the and then, oh, you said this. How did that bring, and it's just, you just could be better at interviewing people and shit. But it's fun, and it's so fun to get people talking about shop, and it's really cool. So what I will do is, in the show notes for this, I'll make sure that I put in
Yeah,
a link to figure out WTAJ plus for those that are not in the immediate area for you guys, because the audience it's global. So I mean, the more we can get people into understanding how that stuff works, and dude, I'd love to do it. And if it works out where it's I'll tell you what, Sierra's getting married Memorial Day weekend. No, Labor
next
Day
year
weekend. No,
or
this
this
year.
year. Are you
This year.
kidding me?
Nope, I swear.
He finally he wow. Holy
So
Christ. It's gonna fucking
so
snow.
well, so here I don't feel like going. So how about let's just plan on a trip where, it happens to just be that time where we have to go to the studio to do it during the ceremony.
Leave,
And then
let me talk let me talk to RJ. I got your information.
yeah.
Uh fuck Memorial. Wait a minute.
No, so we
Memorial
just
Day's
left.
over.
Yeah, no, it's Labor Day. So it's September
Oh,
something.
okay. Jesus, you're scaring me. I'm thinking, okay. I
No,
don't
no.
need wow, he committed.
Yeah, yep. There was they were gonna put it off for reasons, and they haven't. So good for them. To each their own. Not my life. Um,
Hey, as long as they're happy. She's
that's
had a
all that
hard life.
matters. Yeah.
When I first heard who she was seeing, I just thought, oh, fuck, another one. Oh, he did not have a good reputation,
Yeah,
and she straightened him out.
for sure. No, that's I love it.
His mother and dad are very, very happy that his dad was chief of the fire department down there while his grandfather was chief. Then when how the fuck was his grandfather was chief, then when he gave it up, another guy went in. Then his dad went in after the other guy was caught embezzling money, stealing stuff, the whole
Hmm.
10 yards.
Yep.
His dad had it for probably 10 years, maybe 12. Then his deputy chief took it over, but then they had a squirrel in their department that was able to destroy everything that those two guys worked for
Mm.
in a matter of a year.
That
And
shit's so frustrating.
yeah, and this was a department that a neighboring department had a spaghetti dinner to help them buy their furnaces for their truck room
Jesus Christ.
2 years ago, right?
Oh my God.
He signed the papers for a brand new fucking engine 3 months ago.
Mm. Yeah.
So where'd that money come from?
Oh yeah. Nope. Exactly. I love it.
Well, I did find out how they're making their money. They had a training room, and they
Okay.
filled it with skills machines,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and have a payout in there.
Yep.
They said there are people there from the time they open the door at 8:00 in the morning till the time they lock it.
Jeez. I mean, there are sometimes it's that outside of the box thinking, you know,
Yeah.
and man, that's good stuff. When's Carnival for Crescent this year?
Thanks. Why the fuck did you ask me that question?
I don't know. I'm gonna put a note at the end of the show, like in the notes.
It's the last weekend of July.
Okay. All right. Yeah. What I'll do is I'll make sure firm up the time, the dates, and I'll put it in the go help the boys at the firehouse because
We appreciate that, sir. Hey,
yeah.
thank you so much for this.
Yeah.
Hard
Yeah.
thinking all night. But
Yeah.
It's been fun. It's been good to get to know you better.
I appreciate it, Joe. Listen, for you, thank you so much for your time. To our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for sitting with Joe and I today on the Passionate Leader podcast. If something today hit, and I swear to God, if nothing in a 2-hour and 12-minute conversation didn't hit, check your pulse. You shouldn't be in the fire service. Make sure you share it across the platforms. Give it to somebody that you need, that can, take from a message that we said. Follow the Passionate Leader across all platforms and pull up a chair every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard on TikTok, where leadership meets the kitchen table and real talk drives real change. If you want a deeper conversation and first access to exclusive offers, join us on Patreon and step into the inner circle. But importantly, and I know Joe will agree with me on this one, be the kind of leader that somebody else is praying for, the leader you needed when you first walked in that firehouse. And no matter what comes your way, remember this: lead with passion, serve with humility, and leave no room for bottom feeders. Until we meet again, everybody, stay safe.